Most dropshipping videos are about finding the next winning product. This one isn't, because here's what nobody talks about. You can find 10 winning products in a row and still not be making 10K per month in profit. And I know this because I did it for years. I found products that worked, I made a little bit of money, but always had to start over again when I was getting close to 10K months. I realized that doing the same stuff everybody else is doing with AI isn't a real strategy. The stores that are actually profiting 10K aren't using AI to find the trendiest product. They're using it to do the boring stuff that nobody talks about. And that's what I'm showing you today. 3 pillars, each one adds to your margin, each one compounds. And by the time you built all 3, you'll stop building a product cycle and build a real business instead. Let's get into it. There are really 2 different businesses in dropshipping right now. The first is like flipping houses. You find a hot product, you build a store, you run ads, you make money, it dies, and then you start over. Every deal is from scratch, income never compounds, and you're always falling short of consistent income. The second is like building a rental portfolio. You put money into infrastructure that generates consistent cash flow. Every piece that you add makes the whole thing stronger. That is the 10K per month profit business. And here's what most people miss. AI makes the rental portfolio model actually possible for beginners now. You can validate cheap, you can build premium branding without a huge budget, and you can create content without a full team. The thing is, most people use AI to simply flip faster. So the same wrong model, just more efficient and faster losses. So here's where most people waste the most money. They're out hunting for products. They're scrolling through TikTok, checking trending pages, looking at what's viral right now. And then they pick something, they build a store, they run ads, and they hope it works. Here is the problem with that. By the time that you see a product trending, you're already late. Hundreds of people are testing the same thing. The ad costs are up, the margins start to shrink, and you're just throwing money at something that's already saturated. And look, like I said earlier, I did this for years. I'd find a product that looked cool. I would convince myself that it was going to work, spend $300, $500 on testing, and then get nothing. So here's what actually works instead. You don't start with products, you start with communities that are already spending money to solve problems. Because here's the thing, communities, they stick around, trends die. Dog owners will always need solutions for their dogs. New parents will always need help with sleep. Gym people will always buy fitness stuff. So the boring approach is to find communities with active buying behavior, see what problems that they're trying to solve, and then connect them with the solutions that already exist. Now, let me show you exactly how to do this. So the first thing, you're gonna go to the meta ad library. Now, instead of searching for a product, you're gonna be searching for a community instead. Now, the obvious, most trivial way to do this is to say, okay, I'm gonna search up dog toys, right? I can search up dog toys, pet toys, so on and so forth. But instead, I'm gonna be searching something like dog anxiety, dog training, puppy sleep. And what you're looking for here are brands that are actively spending money right now to solve those problems for this specified community. So if they're running ads consistently like this, that means that people are buying the products. So as you can see, this brand Pets Dreams UK has been running this ad for over 439 days. So that's a signal that nobody's just gonna keep running an ad for this long that's losing money. So they have clear incentive to keep it on and to continue advertising it, right? And then there's TheraPet, 344 days running, and this is a completely different angle to that same community, as you can see right here. Okay, now the meta ad library, it shows you what's working in paid ads, so people that are spending money to advertise the product on Facebook or Instagram, but Reddit will show you what people are actually saying about their problems. So what's cool is that we can go to a forum on Reddit, let's just say, for example, r dogs, Reddit-dogs, and I'm just reading through these posts, and you'll start to see these patterns, right? The same complaints that are coming up over and over from different people. Look at this one. The panic every time I leave, the destruction. Everyone just says train more, like it's that simple. It's not, right? So a ton of people having the same problem. And that to us is absolute gold, because now we know exactly what language that this community uses, not the marketing language, but their actual words. And that's what we'll use in the ads later when we plan to advertise to these people. And then the last thing that I do is I check Amazon reviews. Now, I'm not checking the 5-star reviews or even the 4-star reviews. I'm checking the 3-star reviews, because the 3-star reviews are going to tell you what's missing, right? We can look at this one right here. Third brand that she's tried, same stomach issues every time, save your money, did nothing, had to use something else. Those are your gaps, and those are also your opportunities for you to position whatever solution that you bring as better for those specific issues. Okay, so that's the process. The meta ad library to see what's working in the paid ads, what people are spending money on, Reddit to understand the language and the pain points, and then Amazon on to find those gaps that we just spoke about. And the whole thing takes maybe 20 minutes. You're not spending money yet. You're just validating that the community exists, that they're buying solutions, and that you can see exactly what problems that need to be solved. Now, most people, they skip this entire step. They just pick a product and they hope, and then that's why they waste $500+ testing something that was never going to work in the first place. All right, so you validated your product. Now you need to actually set this whole thing up. And most people, they spend like 2 weeks trying to perfect their store. But here's the thing, that's not what matters. What actually matters is getting something functional that you can test with and having margins that actually work so that you're not just bleeding money away while you're trying to dial things in. And the first thing is your store, and the best place to host it is Shopify. So if you go into the description of this video or any video, certainly the one that you're watching, if you click this link right here, it's going to give you access to the $1 per month offer. All you have to do is put your best email, create a password, and then create an account. Now, as you can see here, we have the 97% off discount. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my credit card information. I'll get back to you guys when I'm finished. Now, all you need is the basic plan. You do not need the Grow or the Advanced, so we'll just go basic. All right, cool. Now we are in our Shopify dashboard. Now to actually build this thing, I'm going to show you how insane this AI store builder tool is. So let's just say, hypothetically, I really like this brand and I want to sell this product. This is my competitor store that I want to reference. All right, so all you have to do is copy this link right here, and I'm going to leave a link to One Link Store in the description of this video for you guys to easily access this with a free trial, an extended free trial. So all you have to do is paste the link in here. We're going to submit, and then it's going to start to do the market research. It's going to scan my competitor store. It's going to pull all their copy, their images, figure out exactly what they're selling, how they're going about the marketing. And then we're going to go ahead and press create my store. From here, we simply just need to sign up, use that same email and password that you created. Now we're going to select our target audience, the people that you are trying to attract. So we have Emily, creative college student, crafty dad. I'm gonna go with the busy working mom. Next thing is the communication style. So we have unwind with crochet after work, create joy. I like this first one, so we'll go with that. And then we can select all the images that we want to insert onto our product page. So we'll then go to my store. Then as you can see here, we have an extended free trial. So I'm just gonna go with the pro, but you can see the differences between the various plans. We'll activate our free trial. Now it's starting to build out the store. So this is what it produced for us. As you can see, this is that product that they inserted with all the images. We can interchange any of these images that we'd like. We can upload our own images. It preset the pricing. We can also make adjustments on screen like this, which is really useful. It has the frequently asked questions. This is what it looks like on mobile. And then if we'd like to change any of the color palettes, you have the option to toggle between these, and then we can change the fonts here, the elements, the icons, and then you can add in sections that you like. If we want to add in another product, so let's just say we're on this store and we saw that they had some other bestsellers, something that we might be interested in, we just simply copy the link of the desired product link, go back to build your store, add in the product right here, add manually, copy and paste just like that, submit, and then it's going to create an entirely new custom product page for that product that you've inserted. You can see that we have the home page that's pretty nicely built out. So if you are happy with what you have, all you have to do is go to the top right here, connect store. Because we already signed up for Shopify, we're going to press my existing Shopify store. Now we just have to go back to Shopify, copy the link at the top here. Just going to pick up our admin URL, and then we're simply going to copy and paste, install the app, and then it's going to start connecting our store. And then we simply have to press publish store on the top right. So it says the store is live. So we'll go back to Shopify. We'll head into products to double check. We can see that our product page is here. And then if we go on to online store, we'll see that it has properly been uploaded, and we can make any adjustments that we'd like on the Shopify theme editor. But I just personally think it's a lot easier to do it on build your store right here, just because you have a lot more customization options. You can add in all the sections that you'd like, something that you can't actually do or not as intuitively on the Shopify theme editor. All right, so this is what you've got. It looks legitimate. It looks very professional. that is all you really need to test with. You can always dial in things later once you know what's working. What I'll do is I'll leave a link to get access to the extended trial to build your store. All right, so the store is done. Now here's what actually determine if any of this works. So most people, they start out on AliExpress and they get stuck there. A year later, the same terrible margins, 3-week shipping. They can't figure out why they can't scale, and it's because the math simply doesn't work. So if you're starting with $8 gross margin and your ads cost you, say, $12 to get a sale, you're losing money on every single order that you get. So you can't test enough products, you can't afford good creators, so you're basically stuck in a ditch. But if you're starting with $18 or $20 margin, now you've got actual room to breathe, so you can absorb losses while you dial in your creative, you can test more angles, you can actually build something. So here's what people who scale, this is what they do differently. Now, most people, they don't even know this, but AliExpress sellers, they're not actually manufacturers. They are really just buying from a website called 1688, which is the China domestic wholesale platform. So it's the same products at 30 to 40% cheaper. So instead of buying from AliExpress, you want to go straight to where they are sourcing from. Now, the caveat here is that the website itself is in Chinese. So you'll need to use Google Translate or a Chrome extension. But here's what you do. You find your product on 1688, you reach out to the supplier and you ask if they work with an agent who handles international orders. Now, most of them, they already do this, and because you found them on 1688, you're starting with way better pricing. Now, one thing that you do have to kind of be mindful of is the prices are going to be in Chinese yuan, so you just have to do a very simple calculation, USD to Chinese yuan or euro to Chinese yuan, whatever currency that is native to you. Here's how the math works out. So let's just say your product costs $10 on AliExpress. You sell it for $30, that is a $20 margin. You have the same product on 1688, might be $5, so a lot cheaper. Now you got $25 margin. That extra breathing room is what lets you actually scale and test more. Now, once you're doing consistent orders, you want to start building direct manufacturer relationships so that you can get custom modifications, so that you can get bulk pricing, custom packaging, everything that is going to help differentiate you as a seller and ultimately be a reason for why people want to buy from you and overall make more money. And so the end game here is to eventually get to the point where you're sending inventory to a US 3PL or a fulfillment center that's going to be able to get you that 2 and 3 day delivery time. While your competitors are stuck on AliExpress, they're not going to be able to compete because you have better margins that let you invest in everything else. So what I've done is I've put together a free guide on how to use 1688 and find agents and exactly what to say to get responses. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to easily access it. All right, so now you've got the margins that actually work, which means that you can afford to test, you can afford real creators, and you're not just bleeding money anymore. But better margins won't help you if you can't convince people to buy. And this is where so many people get stuck. So when I was trying to scale, I kept thinking that the problem was the audience. For example, I'd find something that worked. It would have decent return on ad spend, ROAS, so the sales were coming in. What I would do is I would just push more budget. I would basically just spend more money and then watch it barely move and my return on ad spend go down. And then what I would do if that didn't work is just go after the targeting instead. So new demographics, new interests, broader reach, and just spend more, reach more people, and the numbers still wouldn't move. But what I didn't realize was that I only had one angle, maybe two real angles. So one frame on the product doing all the work, and when that started to fatigue, so the same people seeing it over and over, getting bored of the same angle, I had nothing behind it. No iterations, no new angles in rotation. So instead of building on what was working, I was just running it into the ground and calling it a scaling problem. And the reality is it wasn't a scaling problem, it was a creative problem. So the people that are hitting 10K a month in profit with the same product, they're not finding better audiences. They figured out which frames the market responds to, and they're constantly testing new ones, and they've got enough in rotation that nothing ever dies on them. So here's how you actually find those angles before you spend a single dollar. So I want you to open up the Facebook ad library like this. I want you to search for the product itself, or you can even pull up your competitors that are running ads on it. And then I want you to filter for the ads that have been running for 30, 45, and 60 days. So Again, if someone's spending money on ads for this long, it's making them money. They're not just going to keep it on for this long unless they're benefiting from it. So you're not looking exactly at the production quality. You're looking at the angle. So what problem are they leading with and what kind of person is being spoken to? So let me show you what this actually looks like. Let's just say, for example, we search up bird feeder windows. So you can do this in that Meta ad library. Here's what's actually running right now. So we can see this one from Wild Birds Unlimited. Take a deep breath. Watching backyard birds eat, a simple way to slow down. Yada yada. Reduce daily stress. That's been running for 50 days. Okay. Feather Snap. This is solar powered HD photos and videos sent right to your phone. AI bird identification. That's been running for 27 days. Multiple versions simultaneously. So we have all these ads, completely different customers. It's the same product category, all validated by real ad spend, and we haven't even spent $1 yet. Now, here's the most important part. When something actually converts, you don't just run it once and move on. You run it multiple times in different ways. So let's say that wellness angle works about watching birds to slow down and reduce stress. That's what's converting. Now, most people, what they would do is just run that one ad and then call it a day. But here's what you actually do. You create different variations of that same angle. So maybe you open up with someone at a window with a morning coffee. You could have that as the visual first with no voiceover for like the first 3 seconds, or you can reframe the opener to something like, I didn't expect a bird feeder to become part of my morning routine. So it's that same angle with the same insight, just 2 completely different first impressions. When the same person keeps seeing the exact same ad over and over, they just stop paying attention. Your costs are going to go up, your results are going to tank. So what you want to do is you want to rotate, and you've got multiple versions running, the same angle, different execution, and when one starts to get stale, the others are already working. Most people at that 3 to 4K a month range, they're guessing on a product, an angle, a creative, and they're hoping that it works. This is the complete opposite approach. You let the market tell you what's working before you spend a single dollar, and you find the frame that converts. And then you build enough execution around it that nothing ever dies on you. All right, so at this point, you know the system. Now here's what actually stops most people. It's not that they don't get it. They do. They just don't know if they're doing it right when they actually go to execute upon it. The thing is, nobody expects you to just know all this stuff. There is a lot of moving pieces here. And most people that are watching this, they get it. They understand the logic, right? And then they freeze the second that they go to actually do it. Like when I was starting, I would research a product for 3 days straight. I would convince myself that this was going to be the one. And then the moment that I was going to launch the ads, I would second guess everything. Or, I'd be running ad campaigns and have zero clue if the numbers were actually good or if I was just burning cash. That is exactly why I built my mentorship program. We are your eyes on this, because honestly, none of this stuff is sexy. It's boring ass infrastructure, but it is what actually gets you to 10K per month in profit. We run it like it's our own store because we only make money if you make money. So if this sounds like something that you're looking for, I will leave a link below for you to apply. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.